go. Beautiful.
You weren't asking for testimonials.
Well, we love what we do, and it's created many miracles in our lives. So we expect the same for anyone that comes into contact with it. There's a few things that I'd really like to share to warm us up to begin the evening. The first one that's coming through is to look at our reality as not fixed, but as a malleable substance that's being dictated by what we want to believe about it. And it's this beautiful gift of, I'll show up for you who you believe yourself to be, and I'll reflect that back to you. And we'll have this dance of, I'll mirror something, you'll get annoyed at me, so you'll change something. Then I'll mirror that change, then you'll get frustrated, and then you'll change something. There's this beautiful dance, this dynamic of, I'll show you who you are, so together we can get bigger and expand and grow, because we are ultimately one. And many people aren't aware of this dynamic reality, and so we experience struggle, and we keep pushing up against it, and we bash our head into it, and we keep doing the same thing over again. And we experience suffering, and we don't twig that that's being generated from within us. Most of us don't. And if we do it, sometimes it takes a little bit of time. So where I really want to focus the energy tonight is what's showing up in my life that's a direct reflection or mirror of where I need to grow next. Along with that, I want to share a beautiful truth that has really come into play fairly recently for me. As a society, we tend to have a very common belief. We need to be more. We're not perfect as we are. We're not good enough as we are. We need to be more. We need to make more money. We need to present ourselves so more people love us, so we can get more respect, and we need to achieve more, accomplish more. There's this endless pursuit of needing to be more. Does everyone feel that in some way within themselves? But the message from universal intelligence from within ourselves is to say, whoa, 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 where did you get that idea from? I never gave you that idea. I see you as perfect. I see everything perfectly working together and growing perfectly and showing one another things that we couldn't otherwise see. So I don't know where you got the idea that who you are right now is inadequate, not enough. That's not my truth. So please stop taking it on as your truth. So there's this delicate balance of self-improvement coming from the space of, but I don't need to improve myself. And there's this real fine line to walk there where the ego, which is the kind of, if you imagine full consciousness, everything that exists is divided into, well, exists on a spectrum. So we have a very high frequency of consciousness, which is very it's pure love. Let's just keep it simple. Is love, self-love. And then we have a low level of consciousness, which is self-hate, right, and worse. So within that is a whole band of frequencies that we're oscillating. We move in and out of. Some of us tend to oscillate around here, some of us are oscillating up here, or some we just kind of move amongst that. So consciousness is asking everyone to stay out of this spectrum of I'm not good enough, because the physics behind staying or acting from that space actually doesn't bring you up here. It keeps us here. there's this real misconception of if I keep beating myself up, if I keep perpetuating this notion that I need to be more, I need to work at it, I need to get stronger and better and faster and more respected, somehow that will actually propel me forward. But it doesn't, because it's still all coming from the space of I'm not enough and I need to be more. So consciousness, universal intelligence, is coming into this room today and saying, can we drop that? Can we stop undermining ourselves, because it is the opposite way to achieve enlightenment. The truth behind enlightenment, so consciousness, universal intelligence, is greeting everyone here with the reminder of you're already enlightened. You're already there. And the more you come from that space, the more all the non-truths, the self-doubt, the limiting beliefs, the self-sabotage, all that ego activity fades away. What strengthens the self-doubt is the perpetual notion, the perpetual experience, I'm not enlightened yet. Yeah. Because if I ask any one of you whether you're enlightened, makes you enlightened? You are now, aren't you? Yeah.
Gave everyone a big hint already.
If I had said that 5 minutes ago, you'd have been, well no, far be it from me to say that. But enlightenment comes from seeing yourself as enlightened. It doesn't come from seeing yourself as not enlightened, not worthy to be enlightened, not yet achieved that which one needs to achieve to be enlightened. It doesn't come from any of those spaces. Does that all make sense?
Yes.
So it's like we're kind of bred with, you've got a lot of work to do, mister. You've got a long road ahead of you. And on top of that, those of you who get really into spiritual books and listening to various teachers, you start hearing their stories and you start incorporating their experiences as needing to be your journey. That has to be my journey. He suffered, she suffered, so I'm going to have to suffer. They had to abstain from sex, so I'm going to have to abstain from sex. They're going to have to fast, they fast, they do all these things. And we just adopt that, that is our path. The minute you do that, guess what your path is going to look like? That which you believe your path will look like. Remember, this beautiful universe is saying, I'll show you who you believe yourself to be. And if you believe that that is your path, your journey of enlightenment, I'm a very generous giving universe. I will give you that path. I will show that back to you. So the way to harness this dynamic of how I see myself and the universe reflecting that back, the way to harness that is to come back immediately to the understanding that I am already enlightened. Now, when you look at how you are with your life, we gravitate to personal development books, we gravitate to courses, we gravitate to experts, we gravitate to authorities. And many of us become unstuck with that because we're still coming from who I am is not an authority, is not an expert. I'm just me, flawed, inexperienced, essentially not enlightened or unlovable. So the focus of tonight is really to be holding the intention, just trying on this new experience of seeing yourself as already enlightened. Now, I'm not promising that you'll all be levitating by the end of the evening because of that. Okay? I'm not promising anything. This is a starting point, a new way to view yourself. because the universe has got this big joke going on that, well, I am giving you what you want. And everyone's saying, but no, you're not giving me what you... I am giving you what you want. You say you're not good enough, you're not lovable, and you suck with money. I'm giving you that experience. But I don't want that experience. But I'm confused because every night, every day, you assert to yourself that you suck with money, that you're not lovable, that you ruin all relationships, and women can't be trusted and men can't be trusted. That's who you see yourself to be, and that's what you see reality to be. So I am giving you what you want. It's not the truth, but I am giving you exactly how you see yourself. So let's go right back to the heart of the joke. The joke is this. When you see yourself as more, you'll be given more. You'll experience more. When you see yourself as enlightened, you'll have the capabilities of somebody that is enlightened. And you'll start bringing that in. Now here's the really magical thing about frequencies. So I said before that thought frequencies, we oscillate in a spectrum. And everything is a spectrum. Our whole universe is designed based on a whole series of spectrums. Light frequencies, we've got sound frequencies, we've got now internet frequencies, but we're living in thought frequencies. We have thought frequencies. Everything's free. Every experience that we're encountering is along a particular spectrum of frequency. So as we elevate our thought frequencies into I'm already enlightened, the beautiful thing about frequency is that, remember, the universe is matching a frequency. So like frequencies attract. Whilst I hold a belief, a thought process that women can't be trusted, that is a frequency. Does everyone understand that? That is a frequency vibrating through my system. And my body doesn't like that frequency because it's a low frequency, it's not the truth. Non-truth frequencies are low, truthful frequencies are very high. Your body likes high frequencies. It doesn't like low frequencies. So as I'm elevating to that frequency of, or I'm enlightened, the magnet is to bring in those experiences that match that. If I'm oscillating at the frequency of women can't be trusted, that has a magnetic effect to bring in the experience of women can't be trusted. That makes sense? Every experience you're having is being drawn in by the magnet.
Sorry, bless you. Sorry.
Thank you.
By the magnet that you are. This device here is one of the most powerful magnets on this earth. And whatever frequency that you're intending, believing within yourself is what you bring in. Now there is no limit to this. This applies to money as much as it does relationships, as much as it does to bringing in love. And one of the biggest areas that this is, really showed up for me is ideas, breakthrough ideas that I've seen within myself, not only when Sonny started vibrating at the frequency of no, I can have a natural pain-free birth, she was able to do that, but this also applies to opportunities and ideas. As you start elevating into a higher frequency, a whole new level of ideas come to you. There's an actual physics, there's a science behind ideas. Ideas are here all around us in the universe as thought. They exist already as thought. But we can only pull in those ideas that are congruent with the frequency that operate. I'm talking about business ideas. I'm talking about getting out of financial rut ideas, health ideas, anything. This universe is driven by these laws of physics. Now most physicists don't know what those laws are because they're not bringing in enlightenment to attract the understanding and the knowledge of how the universe really works. Rather, they're operating at a frequency that says, this must be proven, that must be proven, I doubt that works, and I doubt that's the truth, and basically, I don't see myself as good enough, so I've got to keep trying for Nobel Prizes and keep trying to prove everything. And so they're only privy to those ideas that oscillate at that frequency. When you start moving into those enlightened minds, you see the enlightened minds have a far greater understanding of how the universe works than the scientists. It's a beautiful irony there. They'll learn in time. So the intention is to maintain an elevated frequency so you truly get what you want, not just what you're thinking about all the time. Okay? Because the universe is giving you, you are the universe, you are giving yourself the experience that you think of most. Not necessarily the one you truly want, but it is what you believe. So let's go into the practical side of universal intelligence. In bringing to light, what is your magnet set to? Now, many of you experience the power of UI to bring to light truth, to access information within our subconscious that, well, in our subconscious we have no idea what's going on there. You've experienced mentoring sessions and you've experienced this within yourself. So we're going to play with this. I'll do some kind of initial examples of this, but then we'll break up into, with our mentors, we have beautiful Akil here, say hello.
Hello.
We have beautiful Megs here, say hello. Simone here, say hello. And then we'll give you guys a direct experience of finding out what your magnet's set to. So universal intelligence is, just to give some context here, is a frequency, a very high frequency. Now, as we elevate into that high frequency, it's a frequency that's actually connecting us all. It's like, you know, you dial your radio to a certain frequency that actually brings in a radio station. Well, we're constantly doing that. So we're either dialing into our past experiences, that radio station, we all know what that's like. Baba, you can't do this. Baba, you failed at that. Nobody likes you. Nobody listens to you. Everybody hates you. You know, you're not lovable. Life's never going to work out for you. That radio, it's very boring. We've all heard it. We don't need to go there. Or, as you move and you elevate, you start actually moving beyond that radio into universal intelligence, which is the oneness, which is where the truth exists. And it's where we are all connected. So those of you who have experienced the mentoring sessions, you can see very clearly that they're tapping into information beyond what's within their own awareness, their own brain. It's beyond their own experience. So this is the importance as we keep an elevated frequency. It brings in information far beyond what we've learned in our lifetime or what we've experienced. It gives us an access to what I call truth. And this truth is what works. It gives you information on what's going to work in your life, as opposed to what we've been drawing upon. So, who would like to ask a question or share what's showing up in their life at the moment? What's the frustration? What's the struggle? What's the repeat pattern? And then we can tap in through universal intelligence to bring to light what is your magnet set to? Why is it at that frequency? Now, if it's very personal and you'd rather wait to having a one-on-one with the mentor, by all means. But if it's something that you want to do within the group, we can go there. Susanna wants to go there. Do you want to go? Yes or no? No. Oh, she does, but she doesn't. Okay. Alex does. Alex does. Okay, cool. Alex, what would you like to look at?
I don't know, I have this idea that I hold myself back in life, in lots of areas obviously, but relationships mainly and finances, things like that. Like.
Great. Okay, so immediately when we tap into universal intelligence, it starts showing me, it says there's a fundamental belief there. It's a way you've seen yourself, or a way you don't want to see yourself, and that is, I'm a disappointment, but I don't want to be a disappointment. So what happens is, because you've got that fear of I'm going to be a disappointment, you pull back before you get to have a success. More importantly, you pull back before you get to fail. So as you go for something, and it's showing me you don't even really go for something, it's kind of, you keep it as an idea, as a prospect. See, the reason you don't pursue an endeavor is, and it keeps showing me your father, it keeps showing me I don't want to be a disappointment to him. If I go for that and I fail, there it is. In no uncertain terms, I have disappointed somebody. It looks like to you, you're worried you're going to disappoint your father, but it's being a disappointment for yourself. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Yeah. So as we tap into UI, we go, okay, so where to from here with Alex? And let's see what's there. The biggest fear is, I'm going to disappoint myself. And we go a bit deeper with that, and if I don't love myself, who will? Yeah? Mm-hmm. And we go into the deep truth behind that is, am I loved, or am I going to spend my remaining years of this universe vying for people's love? Yeah. Now let's see if we can get to the real essence here of what the truth that will set you free is.
All right.
So you have to let me go there though. Yeah. You've come here to love others. You haven't come here to need somebody else's love. It's kind of got lost in translation when you were younger. So the message you need to really embody is, I don't need anybody's love. I'm here to give it. And what I'm being shown is that as you start embodying that level of truth, you'll start seeing that you do already love yourself. As you stop needing to be loved, hang on a sec, now that that's gone, wait, I'm already there. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Great, great. So going back to the magnet is pulling in, or in this case, repelling opportunities and successes, because I don't want a success, I don't want an opportunity, just in case the writing's on the wall that I'm disappointed. That's gone now. I'm here to love others, and in holding that, you'll just, oh, I do love myself. I love to give love. I love to give love. Can you sense that?
Yeah, it's funny. I was thinking about that earlier before coming here.
Yeah. You love it.
I love
you love
my
it.
stepdad, actually.
Yeah. Yeah. There we go.
Thank you.
You're welcome, Alex. Hello, sir.
Am I allowed to ask questions?
Can you do that in the one-on-one sessions, Nazir? I want to just give people,
Please.
and those who haven't had an opportunity. But you know I love to assist where I can.
You have changed my life. I appreciate it.
Anyone else want to understand what their magnet is being set to? Brian.
So, let's see. would say probably in spite of all the spiritual work that I've done,
Yep.
and in internal inquiry, it's like a tension that I always carry here. And it feels like a...
Brian, can you talk
Louder, please.
Sorry.
Louder, please.
Thank you.
Sorry.
They're interested in you, Brian.
It feels like there's a clenching there in my gut. It's always been there, and it's sort of been what I notice as the as part of the thing that is always kind of held back, full and open expression, and speaking loudly. So done a lot of work around it, and you know, brought the volume down, and still want to kind of like kick it.
What I'm being shown in tapping into your body there, it's like two simultaneous concepts going on at once, okay? The first one that's being shown up is, I don't want to fail, and concurrently is, if I can't do this, if I can't walk the talk, and there's a few kind of words next to this as well, it's showing me up, shows me up simultaneously. UI uses all faculties, not just words. So I'm hearing and feeling and getting a whole message in multitude of ways. So what it's showing me is, if I can't walk the talk, I'm a failure and a fraud. If I can't do this, who am I to tell other people to be able to do this? I need to be able to be perfect at this. Yeah. I need to be able to, what's the expression you're using? It's have a hop in my step and sing as if I breathe this in naturally, as if this is my everyday waking state. And the minute I falter in that, I'm a fraud. And you've pushed that down because you know not to have that thought. You know, having done all the enlightenment work that you've done, that's not the thought of an enlightened master. I would accept my my lessons, and I would accept myself as whole. But it doesn't matter that you know that you shouldn't be having that thought. You're still having the thought. Knowing not to have the thought doesn't mean it just goes.
Right.
What has something go is the realization of what's true. Not the suppressing of it, not the denying of it. The body's like, it's still here. You can push it down as much as you like, but I'm still here because the lesson hasn't been learnt. You still honestly believe that about yourself, that you're a fraud unless you're walking the talk in every single moment. So, let's see what the truth is behind that. Remember let's look at the frequencies, the high frequencies and the low frequencies. Non-truth, which is causing tension. Non-truths create absolute havoc in your body because your body wants to reflect truth. Because it's an extension of your soul, your higher self. Higher self is truth. Your body is one and the same with that energy. It could not exist without it. So as we elevate into truth, the body goes, oh, that's more like it. That's my natural equilibrium. It's like setting the thermostat to the perfect mark and beyond, and just showing up all these very interesting things as we live in truth and we oscillate there. Our physiology is going to change to reflect that as well. But that's a whole very interesting topic to look at as well, how the human body will adapt and evolve based on the level of truth that the frequency that we're existing on. To Brian, so if we look at Brian, we said, Brian, what is the truth? No spiritual master has had a perfect path in context to what you're saying. Yeah?
Yeah.
all the frailties, as they are being shown up to you, were shown up to them. But the difference is, most of these masters that you've kind of got in the background there, they didn't have books, they didn't have other frames of reference, that there was something wrong with that. Makes sense?
Mm-hmm.
They didn't have the internet or, you know, Oprah to tell them, oh no, this is what enlightenment looks like. They just went, well, this is my journey, it must be perfect. Got no other frame of reference. So, something to integrate. The first thing is, and it's kind of saying, nothing starts perfect. But it always already was perfect. Yeah?
Yeah.
So perfection being that which needs to be looked at. Embody that as your understanding of perfection. Then you'll have no problem. The problem is there shouldn't be a problem. Yeah. So just start embodying it, and it feels like if everyone can start embodying, perfection is defined as, in this context, in this moment today, as that which needs to be looked at. That's the first message.
Right.
It just wants you to integrate that.
Yeah.
The next message is actually for the group as a whole. And that is simply, stop judging yourself and your journey, for it couldn't be any other way than it is right now. It shouldn't be any other way than it is right now. It's so purposeful, it has such precision to it, it would blow your mind as to how perfect you are right now. And it's kind of saying it's not a concept that human beings can really grasp yet, because there's so much baggage around achievement, accomplishment, shining out there in the world and looking extraordinary and seeing ourselves a particular way. You know, and it's funny, it's kind of showing me that, you know, a lot of this starts when you're a kid and everyone goes, well, who do you want to be when you grow up? A lot of it starts then. You know, you start visualizing who it should be, what it should look like. In that moment, it's set up, a benchmark is being established. So it's saying we've got to do away with these benchmarks, because all they're doing is causing struggle and suffering. So for now, even though it's not necessarily an intellectual understanding for everyone, where you're at is perfect. And to see it any other way is going to ensure that you learn this lesson one way or another. It's just going to ensure that you are staring at that mirror and needing to get that lesson, and it's going to be there longer and longer. Because the way this reality works is, I'll keep showing you what you need to see until you get it. Anyone seen the movie Groundhog Day?
Yeah.
It's that. It is that. I will keep bringing the same experience until you get the lesson. So there's a real interesting hint, is those of you who experience struggle in some area, whether it's financial, health and well-being, self-love, whatever it is, the fastest way to shift from one experience to the next is to get the lesson. What's the lesson? What's the truth? What am I needing to see in this moment? Okay.
If you have time for one more, right?
Sure.
We throw something.
Sure.
A little bit less personal, perhaps. But what would be the perception on the obstacles to bringing my ability up to a certain level, which is satisfactory in astral projection?
Oh, interesting question. Okay, let's have a look. It centers around the need for astral projection. The question comes back, why do you need to astral project?
To connect with my higher self, to explore the universe better, because I have a very strong desire, curiosity to explore soul purpose, all past life memories, connecting with various spiritual guides.
None of that requires astral projection.
Including exploring the universe, connecting with extraterrestrials.
There's another and better path for you than that, is the answer. There is, the need to astral project is deeper than those reasons, okay? But we don't need to go there now. That's not really where we need to go. What you need to understand is, first step in this journey is to become one with your higher self. The reason that is the first priority is severalfold. It's because when you do that, you won't need to do all the other things that you've mentioned. Okay? The second reason is that when you do want to explore the universe, and you mentioned extraterrestrials and various other realms and all these things, your higher self is the ultimate firewall. When you put yourself out there in the universe, unshielded per se, you don't know what you're messing with. You don't know what you're dealing with. And that's not to come from a space of fear or I need to be worried. It's just, no, it's like when my 5-year-old son wants to cross the road, he holds my hand. He's not fearful of crossing the road. He just knows that's the wise way to do it. And whilst the word comes up, is you have a right to explore these things on your own, it's not the wisest way to do it.
I don't know if I should comment. And you're giving me, so I should probably just say.
The question that comes up is, why would you want to do these things outside of your higher self?
Part of it is to connect with the higher self.
But the higher self is already here. It doesn't need you to travel anywhere.
I guess I haven't figured that out yet.
Yeah. And that's the magic. That's what all these questions back at you were saying. It's like, I'm right here. You never needed to go anywhere to talk to me.
I suppose intellectually I know that. I have gone out about 25 times so far. They've been very short. So I know it's, I mean obviously the first time is the most mind-blowing because it's very confirmation. It just feels like something I've been drawn to that's a natural, it's like someone wants to play music. It's part of why does somebody want to heal people or create art? It's something I feel like really this powerful exploration I've always wanted to explore.
It is definitely there for you, but come back to step one, is connecting with your higher self to understand where you should explore, how best to explore it, what you should be looking for in those areas. Because there's a purpose behind that craving. So rather than just kind of seeing you shooting yourself out of a cannon randomly across the universe, rather than doing that, I was like, let's be purposeful about this. Let's go to the places where there's a need to be fulfilled. And you don't need to put yourself out there, because what I'm being shown is as you put yourself out there, there are other entities that are wanting to communicate. And your higher self is kind of there going, I can't really get a word in here. You're looking in the wrong spot. I'm here, not out here. And when you see yourself worthy of that connection, it'll just be there. Okay?
Interesting.
There's this immense curiosity within all of us to go into the outer realms. But before we do that, we need to go into the inner realms. Because a lot of the drive to go to the outer realms is still coming from I'm not enough. Still trying to validate some insecurity, some lack of self-love. And to project yourself out into this infinite realm from a space of I'm not enough, I'm inadequate, leaves you pretty vulnerable, leaves people very vulnerable to different things. So, and especially when you're in the astral realm, you're a much sensitive vibration. So you can feel things and be hit much stronger. So the higher selves are saying, travel with me, not away from me. And I'll show you the true wonders of the universe. And they're beyond the astral, where they will take you. Beyond the astral.
Sounds good.
Yeah. It says, what you're imagining, times 10, like, beyond. All right. Does anyone have any questions?
I was just wondering, I can definitely feel the investment in perpetuating this faulty notion of the premise that, you know, there's incompletion or imperfection, and thus there's this movement of becoming and this desire to get somewhere that's better.
Yeah.
Through effort or through whatever. But I also feel that there's a general loosening at a greater rate, especially within the last 3 weeks that have been showing up in lucid dreams I've been having, and some where, although I don't meditate in the awake state, in the dream state I've been hovering upside down meditating with other meditators and by myself, and like different things, like a butterfly was kissing my forehead 100 times a second, and it like felt like
Wow.
really good energy.
Yeah.
And I've had also like several experiences where I feel like perception and reality are, if not fully merged together, but very close. And I just get this overwhelming feeling that nothing, it's already perfect, and like there's just one, and there's nothing that I need to do. But then I kind of get sucked back into that sense of imperfection, maybe. But I'm just wondering, why do I persist in that investment of keeping that belief when the taste of the reality that I know deep or higher like is there? Like everything else is pale to that experience. Why don't I just stay in that awareness and the connection with the higher self? Why
don't we all?
Yeah.
Yes. Yes. Great question. Okay, let's have a look. And I'm just going to bring the whole group's energy in, because it's a question. It's a profound question that applies to all of why. Why do we stay here and we oscillating here? There's a couple of answers, and the answers apply to different people. So you'll hear what you need to hear in the answers, and it applies to people who are going to be observing what we're talking about as well. The first answer is, there's a huge confrontation of standing out from the crowd. If I continually oscillate or exist in this heightened space, how will I conform to society? How will I integrate? Not only will I be perceived as weird and strange, but where would I have a job? Would I be able to get a job? Would I have a girlfriend? There's all these false notions of that enlightenment cannot exist in current society. And the truth that comes out is current society cannot exist in enlightenment. But enlightened minds do not conform, do not shrink to go back to society. So we all must stay true to that enlightenment path if society is to elevate. So we need to stop thinking, how do I integrate with society? It's like, no, oh, I'm wondering how they're going to integrate with me. We need to turn that around. Enlightenment, as it seems like the minority. But it's not. It's been the consciousness for eons. Just humanity is just remembering it again. That's the first that many of us get caught up in. There is also, for some of you, this belief that if I ascend to that level, or if I ascend at this rate, I will die. I don't need to be here anymore. So if I'm at that level, then the powers that be will just pull the rug out from underneath my feet and I'm done. There's an immense laughter coming through in response to that, which is, why would we do that? We've just gotten you to this point. It's taken us 1,000 lifetimes. It's taken us every moment of playing charades with you in your dreams, in your waking state. The minute we get you there, we're going to kill you? Are you nuts? It's like absurd. That's where we want you. That's where we want humanity. And the more that are in that space, the more that are enlightened, are the magnets that are pulling everyone up to that level. There's plenty of magnets pulling people down. There's got plenty of them around. But there's now the need, or there has been for thousands of years, for the other end of the spectrum, the North Pole magnet, if you like, to pull everyone north, up to a higher frequency. That's some of the answers there. Let's see if there's another one there that wants to be shared. Yes, the next one that comes through is, it's very difficult, if nearly impossible, for me to maintain that level. So why would I bother? I'm only going to experience myself disappointed, as a failure, and I'm going to have to think of myself as someone who's not achieved this. That's another thing. It's like, if something's so hard, there is a very humanness to say, well, then why even bother? And it comes into this as well. The truth of it is, if there's anything to bother at, it's that. The joke is, everyone bothers at looking good in the world, you know, dressing nicely to look good, and working on themselves to look good, make lots of money. You know, we're bothering at things that don't count. And we're putting way more effort into those things than what this thing would take. Yeah. We cross rivers and climb mountains to achieve the smallest of accomplishments. So we look good out in the world and we feel, hey, I've achieved something. When to hold that space of enlightenment, yeah, is to let go of those needs of climbing mountains and crossing rivers. It's not to cross rivers and climb mountains. Everyone get that? We think we need to do all those things. It's like, no! You just need to let go of those things and you're already there. So the perception is that it's this huge monumental feat, which is what we're doing in various activities in our life, just to get love and feel love. When it's just this way, it's like, no, just do that. That's all you have to do. So, I hope that answers your question. It is a unique exploration to see within yourself. Why do I resist this? Yeah. But it was definitely for the whole group there to share. Great question. Love it. Beautiful. It was a pleasure to go into that space and see what the answers were there. Why don't we have a little break and then we can come back and connect with one of these beautiful UI mentors here, and you get to ask some personal questions or go a little bit deeper about something that's come up and see what your truth is in this. And remember, they're tapping into your higher consciousness or universal intelligence the same way I have today. They're going straight to you, they're not giving you an opinion, they're not giving you their experience, they're not giving you their expertise, they're getting out of the way and they're bringing you in. Yeah. So let's have a little bit of a break and we'll get to play with these beautiful people.
Thank you.
So if anybody needs to go to the bathroom, it's a very quiet space. For one.